When I was little, I couldn't find characters like me. There were female characters that were girly and pretty, but I wasn't like that. And there were the tough, independent tomboys, but they were never the lead, and rarely well done outside television. And even then, there was a disconnect. What was missing? Why couldn't I find characters that resonated with me? Surely I couldn't have been the only kid that liked girly things but still wished they were a boy. I'm not the only person who felt like this. Women and people of color often struggle to find characters that reflect their lives and struggles. When you can't find characters like you, it can be hard to view yourself as the hero of your own story. When the characters in the stories we tell our children don't reflect them, how are they going to feel? So what gives? Why couldn't we find people like us in movies? Superhero movies flood the theaters, but what kind of characters do they feature? Before Wonder Woman released in 2017, the most recent mainstream superhero movie with a female lead was Elektra in 2005. And before Black Panther, there was nothing. There were no mainstream superhero films featuring a person of color as the main character. And what about Asians, Native Americans, or Latinx people? What about transgender, non-binary people? Where are they? Out of all the major motion picture studios that released movies in 2016, only 23 featured LGBT characters, and out of those 23, only 9 passed the Vito Russo test, a method of gauging the quality of LGBT representation in media. Meanwhile, according to a study by the Center for the Study of Women in Television and Film, only 24% of protagonists in movies in 2017 were women. And women of color had it even worse, making up only 26% of all major female roles. Representation is important. What you see in the media you consume has a large impact on how you view the world around you. Proper representation is meant to reflect the diversity of our world. But when you ignore anyone who isn't like you not only alienate your audience, but also destroy your realism. But if representation is so vital, why is it so hard to find? Part of the problem is ingrained within the system itself. Writers are often told to write what they know, but that only works if they allow people to tell their stories, and they rarely do. They are often told that their stories won't sell. Men won't watch movies for women. There are already plenty of movies about that. We don't really need that. The report from the Center for the Study of Women in Film and Television shows that even with women acting as directors in movies, men more often than not outnumber the women in the films that are produced. If these beliefs are so ingrained into Hollywood culture, how can we change it? What can we, the viewers, do? How can we influence this broken system and allow everyone's stories to be heard? To let people, often snubbed by the system, know they matter. Luckily, there are other forms of media that do allow for representation. Whether it be TV, comics, books, or podcasts. The more independent the media, the more likely it is to share diverse stories. Television, while it isn't perfect, still stands head and shoulders above film in this regard. From children's programming to soap operas to buddy cop comedy shows, TV often shows a wider range of the human experience. Comics, both digital and tangible, have been pushing the envelope since their inception. Books can be self-published. Podcasts are even easier. The easier it is for a minority to share their story, the more likely a piece of diverse media will be produced. There's a reason why the majority of studios have yet to produce a film featuring an LGBT person of color, while webcomics are filled with them. Representation in movies has a long way to go. Simply letting things stay the way they are isn't going to make anything get better. Ignoring a problem doesn't make it go away. Progress is slow, and while some progress is better than no progress, we don't have to stand by and hope that the next generation get to see themselves in the films they watch, regardless of race, gender, or sexuality. Everyone deserves to know they are seen.